Alright, so in the last video I asked if you all would like me to give my final thoughts on Venture Zone, and a lot of people said they wanted to see what I think about it. So for today's video, I'm going to go over the things I like about Venture Zone, as well as some changes I would like to see made to Venture Zones in the future. So I guess the first thing I should say is I like the idea of Venture Zones. I agree that there needs to be something for in-game players to do, but I do think there's a lot of room for improvement. I remember they stated that they made Venture Zones to increase the replayability for in-game players, and I guess that's the first thing I want to take a look at is the replayability. So if we break it down and take a look at the new things that were added to Venture Zone, you got a new modifier, we had vending machines and repair benches, and that's pretty much it. I know they took weapons away, but that's not really a new feature. And they also added superchargers, and I think each of those things were a step in the right direction. Even though I didn't really use the repair bench that much, I think I used it maybe once or twice throughout the entire Venture Zone. I only used it a couple times. Same thing with the vending machine, I probably used it maybe 5 times in total. And I actually like the new modifier as well. But in my opinion, those 3 things by themselves, I don't think are gonna be stimulating enough for people who have been level 131 for a long time. I should point out that I've asked a lot of people what they think about Venture Zones, and there were quite a few people that really enjoyed it. So I don't speak for everybody, but in my personal opinion, it doesn't make me want to replay Save the World as much as I think they thought it would. Like I said, the whole reason they made Venture Zones was for replayability, but making us do the same missions in the same biomes that we already had over and over again doesn't really add to that replayability factor, at least in my opinion. I kind of hope that they change the way you view the Venture Zone rewards. Hopefully with the next Venture Zone they make it sort of like a battle pass so you can see the rewards that you're gonna get and what levels you're gonna get them. I think that would be another feature I would like to see in a future Venture Zone. And speaking of the rewards, honestly, I don't feel like they're worth it. Basically, we had to grind for a month for superchargers just to end up with the same power level that we started with. And I know they made some changes to the power level, but that's sort of what it felt like. Like we just spent the whole month grinding in Venture Zones just to end up where we started. So at least when it comes to Survivor superchargers, those rewards really didn't feel like they were worth grinding for. I think one thing they should do to really make people want to play Venture Zone is add rewards that people want. And the type of rewards I'm talking about are mainly like cosmetic, like you could add back blings, wraps, helmets, pickaxes. You could also introduce like a new hoverboard, or you could add something like weapons or heroes to the rewards as well. But yeah, when it comes to rewards, I definitely feel like there's some room for improvement there, because with the vouchers, I know they're useful for a lot of people, but for those of us who already have everything, they're pretty useless. Same thing with superchargers. For those of us who've already completed everything, superchargers are pretty much useless. If you have yet to reach level 131, I could see those superchargers being useful, but I kind of feel like they definitely need to add some rewards that make it feel like the grind is worth it. Because I mean, if you think about it, if we were to do another Venture Zone and grind all the way up to 50 again, then that may bump us up to what, 132? So we spent 2 Venture Zones to increase our power level just once. And in my opinion, that does not feel like it's worth it. It doesn't. I don't think that's gonna keep players around for long. You need to give us rewards that people actually want. Now I'm gonna be honest, the first 20 levels or so, I actually enjoyed the Venture Zone. It was very easy leveling up. That's another thing I like about it. But after I reached like level 20 or level 30, it really started getting repetitive. And the main reason I think that is because there was no new biome, there was no new map, there were no new enemies. It's basically the same thing we've been doing the entire time, but with the new modifier, and we weren't able to craft our own weapons. In order to solve that repetitive issue, I think a new map or biome would really help. Or if you're gonna use the same biome, at least add some features to make this map look different, whether it's like a new building or a new underground area or something. If you're gonna keep the same maps, the same biome, at least add a couple of new features or areas to explore. I think adding a couple of new features or some new areas to explore in existing biomes would help make it feel less repetitive. And same thing with the missions, like in Venture Zones, you're doing the same exact missions that you were doing in regular Save the World. And I know matchmaking is kind of hard when you have like too many missions. So if Epic Games needs to remove a couple missions in order to add a new mission, then I would be all for it. And maybe you could have like a unique mission for each venture zone that's only going to be available for that venture zone. Once that venture zone's taken away, you can take that unique mission away. Because the way it's currently set up with us doing the same missions over and over again, it gets really repetitive to people. So that's another thing I would like to see in a new venture zone. Add some new objectives or add some new scenery that sort of separates it from the regular Save the World mode. Because as of right now, it doesn't really feel too different. And I know I've mentioned this before, but one thing I really think a lot of players would like to see is maybe if you added a new boss for every venture zone, even if it's not like as big or as complex as the Storm King. I think if you just added like a new and unique boss for every venture zone, it would make it a little more unique. I think a lot more people would want to play venture zones and level up to see that new boss and get those new rewards. But I honestly believe that that would help people who've been playing a long time stick around a lot longer, because that's one of the biggest issues I have, is that I feel like if things keep going the way they are, then a lot of people are just gonna end up getting bored of Save the World and playing other games. And I think adding better rewards that people actually want, adding real new features, not just a modifier and saying it's a new feature. Also try to make the venture zone unique so that it actually feels different from the regular Save the World mode. I think adding these things would make venture zones a lot more enjoyable, or at least more bearable. So yeah, like I said earlier, I know there are some people out there who really enjoyed the venture zone. And like I mentioned, there are a few things about it that I liked, like the vending machines, the repair benches, the new modifier. But I also feel like there's a lot of things they could do better. And the main ones being the rewards, switch up the map a little bit, whether it's adding something new or a new biome altogether. And honestly, I think if they added some type of boss for every venture zone, or maybe a new mission type with new objectives, that would really increase the replayability factor when it comes to the end game in Save the World. I guess another thing they could do is whenever they do a crossover in BR, maybe they could add a little bit to Save the World. I believe the only crossover we've gotten is the Battle Breakers crossover, and honestly, that wasn't a really big crossover. We just got like 2 heroes from there, and that's about it. Maybe they could add some crossovers in future Venture Zones, but I definitely feel like Venture Zones is a step in the right direction, because there should be something there to keep in-game players coming back. But I don't think Venture Zones, or at least the way it's currently set up, is going to achieve that. I would just like to see them add something that actually makes it feel different from the regular Save the World mode. Because right now, it doesn't really feel different. It feels like we're doing the same stuff over and over. But like I said, that's just my personal opinion. I've asked others what they think, and there was quite a few people who really enjoyed it the way it's currently set up. But those are some of the changes I would like to see added to Venture Zone. Let me know in the comments what you all think about our first Venture Zone, as well as some things you would like to see in the next Venture Zone. The new Venture Zone is supposed to be in Pennsylvania, and I believe they're going to give us some more information about it sometime this week. And as soon as they do, I'll be sure to let you all know. But yeah, those are my final thoughts when it comes to Venture Zone, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching.